Hmm? Hmm. All right. All right, let's go. Thank you. In this universe, she didn't get hit with it automatically. Oh wait, yes she did. Nice.
します。
Huh. Okay. Got a long list of chapters for your story. Let's add a few pages by cutting these bitches down. Wait, you're from the first encounter. You must be missing your chew toy now. Let's go find it.
Sakuko?
In this ending, everything else was meek, but her senses were sharp as a bat during daylight. Unfucking believable. Damn! Right for the neck. Her will strengthens. Oh my god, she's always going for the head. She always goes for the overcut, it's insane. soul.
Shoko, こんなところに。
I like the blade, but I like the blade better. Huh. Someone was supposed to be there in the other ending. Hmm.
Sakuko? Sakuko なの？どこ？
Hmm. Mm-mm. Nice little library session. Us! I'm faster than you. I'm better. I'm smarter. I'm stronger. I'm sexier. I'll let you have that. And that. And that. Go for it, girl. Here, I'll let you have this one too. Take it. I got one more for you. 9? Holy shit, I'm on fire. Of course. Go for it, girl. I sure was. for it. If that stagger moment lasts you a lifetime, you might plead guilty. I guess. As time swindles by, her ease of the R1 button becomes more friendly, inviting, more open, more possible. Like the possibilities that continue to unravel as she becomes more confident in her striking ability of the feline bitches that choose to try her. They never gave the child a proper introduction. And just spawned her there. Alright, let's go get this dog's chew toy. In this ending, she stayed and killed it. Oh wait, maybe she didn't, because my eyes think to bleeding. Yep, this ending killed this fuck ass kid. Fuck reporting it to the police. Fuck taking you to the police department. Just kill you. And you're suffering. Because your mother didn't have the balls to. Alright, I'm out of here. More? I ain't got time for this. Of course. Ugh. Kids. Hmm? Here, chew on this. The period simulator experience. I don't need none. I don't need none of this shit. It's literally easy mode, but whatever. You sit right there. This is your first challenge, ending cynical. Your first stage of puberty. You're not a woman just yet, not like the others. But this is your first trial. Your tribulation will come later. I know. Be scared. That's the point of this trial. To face that fear. Letting it face you. Here and now. Now and here. How will you respond to the fear you must endure? Rather nicely. Rather strict. Is this the real you, Hanako? Is this the real you? Of the link with your other ancestral sisters, ending A Nako, ending B Nako. yourself well. In the battle of life and death. You prove yourself strongly enough to Nixie. Fear feels like nothing but a tool for you to use in the mind of the awakening. Show her. Prove how your fear. Fuck the monologuing. I killed that bitch and all of them. I got one more ending to go. Oh hell no! No. He just broke a rule. I told him not to touch me. Listen, just this once, since you quote-unquote saved me, but as you can tell, I was beating that bitch's ass. I was the demon. She was stuck here with me. I'll let you have it. God, you're fucking gross. Where were you? Oh my god, he's actually still touching me. I gotta skip this cutscene. I can't do this. I didn't miss anything anyway. Good. Oh shit. What the fuck happened? The name of the skunt I dare not name.
腕どうした？あれ引っ掛けて破いちゃったのかな。特にあざはないみたいだな。痛むところはないか？うん、大丈夫。それは良かった。どうした？行こう。時間を無駄にした。よし。行こう。私をちゃんと守ってよ。私、ひな子みたいに強くないんだから。分かってる。俺から離れるな。うん。
Draw number 1.
目指すは俺の家だ。You
beat your trial. You earned your praise, girl. But the world has so much more to offer you. Not just trees and squirrels and rainbows and leprechauns. You can't be front lines just yet. The fate of the next ending rests on her shoulders. Yeah, I can see the shit graphics from here. Yeah. Imagine if whole time that little fog thing where I had to pull the pins from the dolls was in here the whole time, and like she was just like, what the fuck is she doing? Is that a pill? I'm confused. I can go down here? Oh, I can. How did I not realize this? I don't need you. I mean, hopefully there's something
赤いやつどこ行った
after we killed it. I don't think it matters. Oh, we came from here. Yeah, I remember this. No, fuck you. What ending do y'all think I'm trying to achieve here? Oh, shut the fuck up. You already violated. Not paying y'all no mind. You got one looking right at you though.
シュウ君っていつまでひな子のこと相棒って呼ぶの相棒なんて呼び方小学生の男子みたい
Don't look at the bitch.
俺は相棒を女扱いしてない。
そうだなされた覚えもない
立ち話は終わりだ。行くぞ。
Oh, look. Yeah, I got y'all back if y'all got the front. I hope you're pleased. Look who's up. You seem like a fast one. Nope, not paying y'all no mind. You can fuck yourselves. I know I was up here, but I'm gonna look again. What the? I thought I killed you! Don't, you know what? Oh wait, this isn't that universe. Dumbass. Oh shit. Come here. 1, 2, 3, who's it gonna be? Yellow, red, blue, I choose you. I wasn't done. There we go. I like how she just fell down with the pipe. Am I tripping? I thought I killed the bitch. Not the other surprise I was hoping for. A doctor. Interesting. Board games. Is that coffee? What is that? Fingers? What is that? Can I make a difference with this box or no? No. Just eyeballs staring at me still. Okay. Wait, what about here? Are these different? No. What about you? No. Nope, I got everything. This is the calmest I've ever been during a stream. Yeah, I got fucked by that coffee and Wingstop order. Good lord. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It's fucking me.
妙な化け物が増えてる気がしないか?
Like I said, one's right next to you. Give me the go sign and I'll take her down.
ひなこってシュウ君と話すときは男の子みたいな
I'm sorry, I don't speak that language. Say that again?
昔の癖が今も抜けないからかな。
俺たちは幼い頃からの付き合いだからな。
だから男女の関係にはならなかったってわけ。
You cannot speak of that name.
もうそんな話をしてる時じゃないぞ。
You speak a name, you vanquished it. Now it's not her time yet. But it will be. It will be. Thank you. How many med kits does it take to get to the center of the med kit max out? Damn, bitch, you got hops. Prepare to meet your doom. Oh, my bad. I choked. And you fell. Something tells me she's not playing pretend dead. Yeah, she's actually dead. Ooh! This wasn't here the first time. Nah, not yet. With the pipe with the gripe or the knife that takes your life? Which one? Come here, bitch. First, order up. Number 625, pipe with the gripe order. 625, pipe with the gripe order. Is it you? Well, it's about to be. Thank you for coming to Wawa. See you again. 725. Knife that takes your life order. Knife that takes your life order. Oh shit. Nope. I struck first. But I hit first. Why didn't it register? This is your worst nightmare. It's literally easy mode. Don't worry, don't worry. Got a med kit on standby. There was supposed to be a noise. Oh, you? One more. This one won't. Promise you. This will ending C feel like us. Right in the abdomen. Oh, no. Wait. Last time it was... No, something's not right. Alright, let's see what ending this is for you. Ending M. Okay. Get hit with a fucking pipe. They're all kind of the same, but the letter distinguishes the difference. That's all that matters. I'm fully recovering from that from that Wingstop meal. Tore me asunder. You see this sign, bitch ass nigga? Come read it. You. Over here. Read this sign. You're not a real man. I'm a cow, yeah. I must have got this one already. Look who's scared. I would treat your dumb ass to a happy meal to hell, pussy. I'ma swing my ass to your direction. What's the matter? Scared. Wait, that looked like his sister.
きるのは危険すぎる。
私たちの千鶴やどうしてこんな。
中学校の方へ向かってそこから山道を登ろう。だいぶ遠回りになるが町は避けられる。
Y'all can avoid whatever y'all want.
行こう。
I'm bringing on this ass whooping that will be served, whether you like it or not, and you will finish your food. It's funny how we look the other way when we're actually going the other way. Ending B, no struggle. This one, she's honing her skills to the finest degree. Unlike the others, honestly, they look at her with much potential and stride and strife and confusion almost. As if they're not the ones to lead to the true ending, but it is her. Sinako. Back her up. Thank you. Go for it, bitch. Damn. Wow. The two previous Hinakos stand not amazed but surprised as they look at each other. We're not the one. She is. And they aid her in their battle. This point forward. Standing in full trust to put an end to this 1, 2, 3 ABC nightmare. She questions, should I strike it down again? Her sisters respond for the first time, no, you've proven yourself. Damn! Oh yeah. Perplexed, amazed even this time. Truly, we must lead her to victory. This ending will prove itself unfavorable, but it leads to the true end. Prove yourself once more. Oh, mistakes happen. Go ahead. You're in the corner. How will you respond? Nicely.
What's really weird is that apparently Junko's face is in this first cutscene, fully modeled, though never used. And so if we take the camera up to her face, we can show you what she was supposed to look like.
It seems like every week I log on to social media, whether that's Twitter or TikTok, and there's always like a new gaming headline that relates back to money or prices increasing. The latest news includes things like the PS5 getting its second price hike by like $100, and this was after Xbox already did it. There's rumors of the Switch 2 getting a price hike, and they already canceled their Mario Kart bundle, which was basically like a price hike in disguise. And of course, we have the RAM shortages all across the tech industry right now that is affecting everything globally, which includes our video game consoles as well. So things like the Steam machine getting delayed. And that's not even mentioning the never ending debate of whether games should be $70 or $80, which is the standard for AAA games right now. And of course, this is all warranted, right? Money is a very sensitive topic right now in the current economic landscape, at least in America, and that includes the hobbies we want to enjoy. I myself have changed my spending habits when it comes to gaming because I'm currently in between jobs right now, and even though gaming content creation has inadvertently become my full-time job, I'm still being very careful with how I spend my money towards games because things have gotten a lot more expensive and the job market and the economy are just shit right now. Even compared to last year, I feel like I have a different mindset when it comes to my spending behavior towards games. Pricing consoles and games are the most complex they've ever been, and that's for a multitude of reasons beyond just inflation. AAA games and consoles are the most expensive they've ever been, but on the other end, people will argue that financial accessibility with games has changed too, with how cheap indie games, PC gaming, and free-to-play games has changed how we spend money on games as well. And that makes me think, how much do game prices determine what I'm playing as a gamer in my 30s, what my younger Gen Z friends are playing, and in turn, how does that spending behavior directly shape gaming culture around each generation? Anyway, let's talk about it. By the way, hi, my name is Anna, and on this channel, we talk about all things video games. We discuss games from narrative perspectives to industry perspectives and everything in between. So I'm going to do my best to not make this video a lengthy dissertation paper full of data points you don't care about. And to do that, I think I'm going to start with just a personal story on how I think my own personal spending behavior determined how I gamed throughout the course of my life. So this is basically starting at the earliest I was gaming, which is probably when I was able to feasibly have the motor skills to start using a controller, to around like 12 years old probably. And if we're comparing this generation to the generation now, we would be talking like Gen Alpha years. So during my like elementary, middle school years, I obviously relied on my parents for all my gaming experiences. I was a kid who grew up primarily on PlayStation and Nintendo consoles. So with Nintendo, I had a SNES, I had an N64, I had a GameCube, I had a Wii. And with PlayStation, I had a PlayStation 1 and 2. I also played handheld consoles like I had a Game Boy Color, a Game Boy Advance, an SP, a DS, and I did actually have a PSP at one point, but I don't actually remember playing any games on it because we just never bought PSP games. So I think that a lot of my childhood was spent playing Nintendo consoles, mostly with PlayStation probably being a little bit more secondary. I was really privileged to come from a middle class family that could afford consoles and games for their children, but at the same time, my parents didn't exactly want to spoil me with giving me games all the time. So games were always treated like a treat or a gift for me and my brother. They were always a Christmas present or a birthday gift, and I wouldn't say that I just got games just because I asked for them. Looking back on this is actually why I don't blame a lot of like people who say that they game a lot, but they haven't experienced like a Final Fantasy game in their lives before. Because I think like with these like classic, very popular IP that most people typically grew up with, we were still very dependent on our parents to be able to have those gaming experiences. So it was probably impossible to play every classic gaming franchise when you were growing up. That was the case for me. Like, I played Mario and Zelda games, but I never really played Final Fantasy, and I never really played like the Xbox games because I never had an Xbox console. And leaving it up to your parents to give you those experiences, it's kind of could be by chance that you played a certain IP growing up. When I wasn't playing my consoles, I was spending time PC gaming. My family basically had this like huge clunky desktop that we all shared, and that's when I first started really using the internet. I was playing games like Neopets and Club Penguin and Flash games. I was also playing a lot of MapleStory, which is like my childhood MMO that I spent ungodly amount of hours on. And playing all of these types of games was my first introduction to meeting people online and just gaming online socially. And with MapleStory, I was so into it. I probably spent a good chunk of middle school and into high school playing that game. And I was super into the game, but my parents were really, really against microtransactions. To this day, they are pretty against digital purchases in general. But when I was a kid, they were like very adamant about not letting me use their credit card for anything on the internet, basically. What I would do, because I was so into MapleStory, I wanted to buy NX so bad. And NX, for people who don't know, is like the currency in the game that you can buy with real money. What I would do is I would basically go to Walgreens next to school that I would sneak off to after school ended, and I would basically use my allowance to buy gift cards at Walgreens so I could spend it on NX. Eventually, I stopped doing that. I probably spent like $100 or something in total, but eventually I stopped doing that because, not to flex or anything, but I got so rich in the game that I just started selling really expensive items for NX instead of the usual currency in the game. So I could just basically make NX in the game instead of using real money. But anyway, I guess I don't blame Gen Alpha too hard for begging their parents to spend money on things like Roblox, because I remember the days when I was a kid and wanted to spend money on NX so badly. It's not as egregious as like stealing my parents' credit card to spend on microtransactions. I never done something like that before, but I guess it's not really different from kids wanting to spend money on like V-Bucks and Roblox now. So anyway, in summary, I think this era of my life, I was reliant on my parents, obviously, because I didn't have money to myself for my gaming experiences, and in between primarily gaming on consoles and handhelds, I was filling up my time gaming elsewhere on the family PC. If you compare this experience to Gen Alpha's habits now when it comes to gaming, this report from 2025 says, among parents who say their children play games, a vast majority say their kids spend up to 2 hours across all devices tested. Currently, more portable devices prevail in terms of time spent, as they're much more convenient for parents to bring along on trips outside the home. Asked which devices their Gen Alpha children use the game, parents are most likely to say mobile 60%, or consoles like PlayStations or Xboxes 53%. After that, shares for other devices trailed by bigger margins. Age 6 and up is where habits become more solidified. Much higher shares of those ages 6 to 8 and 9 to 11 play across all platforms and devices, and the figures for both are more similar with each other than they are with those ages 3 to 5. Our data shows that sandbox creative games like Minecraft and Roblox are the generation's favorites, and by quite a wide lead. Half of parents of Gen Alpha gamers say their kids play this gaming genre 17 percentage points ahead of action adventure, the next most popular genre. Many of these games also have a social component, allowing kids to play with each other. I think all of these data points makes a lot of sense when I compare their gaming habits to when I was gaming as a child. You know, mobile gaming was never a thing for me because when I was a kid, phones just weren't good enough to run games. But for Gen Alpha today, that makes a lot of sense. Smartphones are much more accessible. Your parents probably have them, so you can just borrow them to play games. And I think a lot of parents also buy smartphones for utility's sake for their children. And I think a lot of kids are games first, platform second. So they don't care too much about like which platform they're playing on, whether it's a PC or a console or a tablet. They just mostly care about the experience and being able to play a certain game. So whatever platform it's on, they will play that on whatever is available. And then I think it makes a lot of sense that consoles are right after mobile gaming in terms of popularity. These are probably kids having the same experience as me of having their parents buy consoles for them. I think the data point that says basically that kids start spending more time across all devices as they get older makes sense, because I imagine that kids mostly start out spending most of their time with people that are in close proximity to them, right? So this is your immediate family and maybe like family friends. And then once they get older, they get access to the internet and they have a growing interest in online digital spaces where they can be social and play with friends. And I think that could probably explain how the platform usage across all devices evens out a little bit more with age. And this note about third spaces becoming more important for kids as they get older is a really interesting point. I found this LinkedIn post, and I know that might sound cringe, but bear with me here. This post does make some interesting points, like Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox aren't dominant because they're free. They're dominant because they function as social clubs for a generation that no longer has a reliable third place. The real advantage is in zero cost. It's low friction access to shared space. For younger players, especially, these environments replace the mall, the arcade, the forum, and even after-school hangouts. So I think it's really easy to like meme on these kids that are playing like Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox all day, and just these Zoomers that are addicted to these like kind of brain rotty games. But I think it's actually not that different from my generation when we were playing like our first MMOs like WoW and MapleStory and RuneScape. And our generation was actually the first generation to start using like these gaming worlds as online digital third spaces where we could actually meet and make friends. So even though the actual places has changed for this new generation, Gen Alpha, it's really not that different from when we got to experience this ourselves when we were younger. The last thing I'll say about this generation that makes me maybe a little bit sad upon reflection, I guess, is with the rising costs of consoles and tech and handheld devices and games, I wonder about how many more kids won't get to experience games like the average American family back in the day. Like it was very much a thing to be able to experience your classic Mario games and your classic Zelda games. And these were core nostalgic childhood memories that many average families got to experience. And how much is that taken away from with how bad the economy is increasingly getting worse? And you might think like this sounds like a very first world problem, right? Like more kids not being able to play video games. Like there's other concerns to be caring about, like putting food on the table and making sure our kids are getting their education. And I get that, but I think that's like the bare minimum. I think we should be striving to get to a point where basic necessities like food and healthcare and education are just rights that everybody has, so that we can get to a place where they're freely able to explore things like extracurriculars and hobbies and creative things. And I think games falls in that. For myself, I don't think I would be making this video if I didn't grow up with the games that I had. I don't think I would have had a career in gaming or worked in gaming adjacent spaces if it weren't for all the fond memories I made as a kid playing video games. So just relating it back to my own experience, this is what makes me sad about financial inaccessibility to games. Like how much is that going to affect a whole generation not being able to experience these things? Because I think like things like hobbies and interests is very important during our childhood and can really help form and shape what kind of personalities and things we want to do in the future. So now let's look at the high school to post-college grad phase of life, and this is probably like 18 to 24 in age. And if you compare this time period to a generation now, we're talking like younger Gen Z. So when I hit high school, this was post 2008 financial crisis, and I would say that the financial crisis definitely hit my folks pretty hard. I remember after this time, we were much more careful with how we spent our money and things were a lot tighter. We started spending less on things like games and consoles for sure. But I think this decreased spending in games was also just aligned with me having a general decline in gaming. I just stopped gaming as much during this time. I think I was just very focused on my grades and trying to get into college. So this is why I ended up missing on the 3DS, which came out in 2011. Even though my brother did end up getting one and I would just borrow his, I didn't have my own 3DS, which is why I missed out on a lot of games, but I did get to play a few gems like Animal Crossing New Leaf. I also missed out on the Wii U, which came out in 2012, and this was the first major Nintendo console, I think, that I didn't end up playing at all. Honestly, if I had to miss one Nintendo console, I'm glad it was the Wii U. And then we get to college years, and when I went off to college when I was 18, this was when I was mostly financially independent. I was relying on my parents for some things, but I was mostly financially independent. I got a part-time job on campus to pay for like my everyday things. I was relying on student loans to pay for school. And during this period, I was so focused on just college life. I went to UCLA, so it was very competitive school, and I honestly didn't have time to game at all. I didn't really have an interest in it during this time, actually, in general. I was doing the college thing of trying to get my grades up. I was doing a lot of extracurriculars and jobs and internships and just being a social butterfly. So yeah, I was not gaming really at all during this period. And this is why this period of my life is like a void to me when it comes to what was happening in the gaming industry. This is why I missed out on a bunch of Pokemon gens during this time, actually. So post Diamond and Pearl is like a lot of the generations during that period, like I don't know much about at all, like Black and White, Sun and Moon. Don't know anything about those Pokemon gens, honestly. Ironically though, I did end up buying a PS4, not for me, but for my ex-boyfriend. We actually ended up breaking up shortly after I bought him that console for graduation, but it's fine. Now it's just a funny story. And then towards the end of college, I actually bought a Switch 1 with my own money after working 3 jobs during senior year. And I think back then I was kind of ready to just get out of school. I think I was really realizing that I was about to start the rest of my life, which meant like having time to myself and not being so stressed with school all the time, that I was going to be able to enjoy my hobbies again. And that included gaming. So I think that's why I was really excited to buy a Switch right on release and play Zelda again, because I felt like it lined up with the time period of my life where I was ready to be an adult and have my own life and start up my hobbies and interests again. And I'm really grateful to my past self for doing that, because I think without the Switch and being able to play an amazing game like Breath of the Wild, I don't know if I would have had a better start to get back into gaming as a hobby without this experience. And now we get to the post-grad life, and this is a really interesting time for me. I think I wasn't sure of what kind of person I was. I don't think I knew what kind of games made me happy or what kind of gamer I was. So I ended up buying my first PC now that I had like my own disposable income and I was working like a full-time job. I remember buying my first PC, and the first game that I ended up buying was just what all my friends were playing, and that was Overwatch. And yeah, that was a game that kept me occupied for quite a bit right after I graduated. And then I got into playing a lot of Fortnite. And say what you will about Fortnite, but I got into Fortnite when it was like season 2. The peak years of Fortnite, when it was just really blowing up, were some of the best years I've ever spent gaming. Like, if you know, you know, like those years of Fortnite, like there will be nothing like that time period. We meme on Fortnite a lot, but it was a really good game back in the day. So I was spending time between these PC games like Overwatch and Fortnite while still playing some console games here and there on my Switch, like Zelda and when Odyssey came out. And I think I was also playing like games like Persona 5. So now let's compare this time period to younger Gen Z now. I found this article on Vice that is from 2025, and it says, both online and retail purchases among ages 18 to 24 dropped by 13% from January to April compared to the year prior. Young Zoomers were spending nearly 25% less per week on video games than in 2024, while purchases for accessories, small appliances, technology, and total general merchandise had all dropped with young adults. Video games took the lead. The drop-off was enormous for 18 to 24-year-old gamers, as data on other age groups revealed a minor single-digit decline, well under 5%. Contributing factors to drop spending included a difficult job market, student loans, and a particularly high credit card delinquency rate among those aged 18 to 29. So I actually found this article from a Reddit thread that raised some interesting points in the Reddit thread's comment itself. And they mentioned things like, you know, it's because of free-to-play games and a bunch of old games that you can just play without spending as much money. There's also indie games, of course. And then some comments that mention that Gen Z honestly just play like the same 3 to 5 games in rotation with friends, and that really keeps the cost down for a lot of younger people. And while I was reading this article, I did definitely have the thought, like, is it only counting like AAA? Because I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that this generation is the generation that games the most out of any age group, and they're definitely gaming a lot. Maybe it just means that they're not really playing as much AAA games, but they're definitely pivoting to indie or free-to-play games. So in other words, they're still gaming, they're just spending less and playing other types of games that offer cheaper alternatives. When I was working in an indie game studio, this was primarily the demographic we were marketing the game to, this younger Gen Z bracket, which is like people mostly in their younger 20s. And I learned a lot trying to market to this demographic. They're a tough market to crack, and there's a lot of reasons for it. This generation is very sensitive to money, and that's not surprising at all, right? With the job market and the fact that they're just only post grads, like they have less money to spend on games, of course. But I think what I was surprised at was just how much like $3 to $5 really changes the sentiment over the overall cost of your game. Like $20 versus $25 is actually a really big jump for people in this market, which was something that was very insightful to learn as I was working this job. This generation is very critical of games, which is not a bad thing. They ask really hard-hitting questions like, why does this feel the way it feels in the game? Or like, why don't you do this versus this when it comes to combat or movement or whatever? And they are very blunt and quick to point it out to give feedback. They're also really quick to say, why would I play this game when this other game in the same genre and same price point does the game and the genre better? This generation's super into indie games and online games that all their friends are playing, and this is a big component of them, like being able to have fun with other friends. And they love their cheap indie games like Undertale. It's like super popular with this generation. And I would say for a lot of people that we were marketing towards, like $20 was a pretty good spot, I think, for indie games if the game was good. But yeah, they had very high standards for games that even were within like the $20 range. They wanted it to be very high quality and expected that much. Actually, while we were working at the studio, there was a moment where I felt like a clear generational difference was going on amongst our team members. So we had an employee who was like, I think she was like 23 or something, while we were all either in our late 20s or 30s. Resident Evil Requiem had just been announced, and all the 30-year-olds in the company were like, yeah, that is like a day one purchase. There's no way I'm skipping out on that game. Like, I will be playing that even if it's $70. Like, there's no way I'm missing out on that game. I'll be playing it the minute it drops. And the younger 20-year-old in our company was basically like, you guys are gonna spend $70 on a AAA game? Like, there's no way in hell there is any game that will make me spend that much on it. And we're like, oh, interesting. Like, I didn't know you were so adamant about being against spending on, you know, like a AAA game like that. And she was basically like, I can't imagine spending that much towards any single game. Like, I could play like a multiplayer free-to-play game and save so much more money. Like, I really can't think of a single game where I would be spending that much on a single player experience. And I was like, this is the moment where I felt like so much of a generational gap was happening. And I think the other people who were also in my age range like felt the same way. Like, we were so different. Like, we could not be more different when it comes to our gaming habits. Like, it was very palpable what was happening while we were having the conversation. And there's a lot of criticism for the AAA model, like right here in the Reddit comments, right? The gap between people who enjoy the cheaper games and like AAA expensive games, the gap just gets wider and wider. This can basically be summed up to, why would I play AAA games when they're only increasing in price and they're coming out like unoptimized, they are buggy, sometimes they have DLCs that are like $20, and these are like AAA games with like open world checklists that are just a whole lot of nothing, while indie games are like fun and creative, and they're able to do things that AAA like are too scared to do. They're like a fraction of the cost, and they offer better stories and design and all these things that make the game feel much more complete than a lot of these like AAA titles that come out. So looking back at this era, I think that my younger 20s self related a lot more to younger Gen Z today compared to how I game in my 30s, and that's quite obvious, right? In this era, I learned what indie games are. I stuck to my free-to-play games that mostly were determined by what the people around me were playing, what my friends played, what they were playing after work, and I wasn't wanting to spend really any money all the time on games. I wasn't trying to spend much money each month on new releases, and that was a mix of like not feeling like I needed to do that. Why would I need to do that when all my friends are playing the same 2 or 3 games every night anyways? Like, why did I need to spend money on new releases? And that's just so different from how I game today. It is really interesting to see how my younger self fits squarely with these comments and how Gen Z act today still. By the way, I'm supposed to be like younger millennial, but I feel like some people classify me as being right in between Gen Z and millennial, so I could be considered older Gen Z or younger millennial, I guess. Whatever. If I told a Gen Z person that I'm technically Gen Z, they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like an unk. Regarding free to play, I think in the same way that I grew up without any kind of attachment to mobile games and how that habit has kind of stuck into my adult life, like I still don't play mobile games, I can see the same happening for Gen Z today. Like if you grew up playing primarily like games like Fortnite or like free to play games or like sandbox games, that just carrying into your later years and just like sticking to those kind of games past your childhood and past your adolescent life. This comment kind of sums it up here, but they basically say like live service games like Fortnite and Roblox hook the younger audience that grew up playing them, and these people were used to already not really buying games in the first place, so they gravitate naturally towards cheap or free games that is mostly a social driver for them to play with friends. This report from last year says 34% of Gen Z plays games primarily to socialize compared to 26% of other generations. They're more likely than anyone else to quit or return to a game because of their friends. Gen Z plays everywhere, which includes mobile, PC, console. They don't pick one, they pick all of them. Older generations tend to be device first. They choose a platform, then find games to play on it. Gen Z flips this. They care about the game first and expect it to be available on whatever device they're using at the moment. I can definitely see myself in the older generation that they mention here. Like, I definitely think I bought a PS5 because I just wanted the console first and expected the games to follow after. Definitely took a few years for the PS5 to get their quality games, but I think I also thought about that with the Switch as well. Like, even though it launched with Zelda, I did expect it to eventually get good games, and the console was the first thing that really came to mind when I purchased it. Gen Z has strong opinions on monetization. Some things they're willing to pay for, others is a hard pass. They hate things like intrusive ads, but rewarded ads is fair. They'll engage if they feel like they're getting something worthwhile, and they love things like premium cosmetics or unique skins, status items, and customization. In short, if monetization feels like a cash grab, they're out. The best models feel rewarding, not annoying. So in summary, this is a time when mommy and daddy aren't paying for your games anymore, most likely, and gamers are much more scrupulous about game prices when spending their own money, especially in a dying economy when there's so many alternatives and options to choose from, and gaming being mostly a social driver. And I think this is especially important in a time of post-grad when this previous access to like a huge community is suddenly taken away from you, right? Like you had all this social life and community built around you being on campus and going to school, and suddenly that is all stripped away after you start becoming a working adult. I think that could be jarring for a lot of postgrads, which is why I think social gaming is so relevant to people who just graduated college. So now let's get to my mid-20s to the present day. And if we're comparing this against an age group, this would be like 25 to 34. I'm not quite 34 yet, but this is like the general age range that I'm thinking about. And this generation would be considered mid to older Gen Z to young millennials. So that is the generation that I squarely fit in. So the mid-20s definitely was kicked off for me with gaming during COVID. This was when I bought my first PlayStation 5, and that was actually the first PlayStation I ever bought in my life. PS3, PS4, I think my brother ended up getting those consoles, but again, I was so preoccupied with school that I didn't ever play this console. So post grad and being in my mid 20s now, I was like, you know what? It's time for my big first PlayStation purchase. And it definitely felt like a big purchase to me because I don't think I've ever spent like $500 on a console before in my life. I was still playing games on my Switch 1, and by this era, I think a lot of good Switch games were coming out. Games like Animal Crossing New Horizons was coming out during this time, and I think that games like that definitely got me back into playing more single player games again and console games. I did do a lot of like PC gaming during this era because, you know, during COVID while we were all quarantined, I was still looking to game to keep up with friends and just have a social life online through games, and I relied on PC games to do that. But at the same time, I think I was slowing down in PC gaming and multiplayer games in general. I think the last game that I played seriously for a multiplayer title was like when the Valorant beta was happening, and then I moved on to playing more games like, I don't know, like Lethal Company, I guess. But I think a big pivot that happened during this era for me was just largely getting back into single player gaming, story games, and less multiplayer like PC only games. I think I had like a switch in my brain where I was like, you know, there's so many stories and so many cool, unique games out there that I'm not getting younger anytime soon. And I want to experience these games, and I don't want to be basically playing infinite games or playing the same game every single night for the rest of my life. So it's time to get back into like single player games and RPG games. And I basically thought like I wasn't really experiencing new things or novel things in games if I was spending time playing like Valorant every night. And then I got my next major console, which was the Switch 2. And then I think if I had to describe my gaming habits now, I'm basically playing single game experiences more than ever, from like 15-hour indie games to 100+ hour open world RPGs. And I'm basically playing 2 to 3 games a month and spending pretty much monthly on games, which very different from my spending habits as I've just talked through. And if I were to reflect on my spending and gaming habits now, I think my gaming behavior isn't very typical. A large part of that is obviously because I create gaming content. So there is a part of me that feels like I just need to keep up with the industry and play new games. So I'm constantly buying and checking out new games. Many people are obviously not doing that, of constantly buying new games and trying out new games. If I were to think about people in my age range of how they are gaming today, gamers in like their 30s or like late 20s are a little bit more sure of like what kind of games make them happy. So like I have a lot of friends who love playing single player AAA games like Resident Evil. Like they love playing games like that on their console. I know a chunk of people who just love sticking to like cozy life sims, and that is like their bread and butter, and they stick to that pretty much. There's people who just stick to indie games and they don't really play as much AAA games anymore. But there's also a chunk of people who have stuck with their like younger gaming habits, I think. Like my partner, for example, has stuck to classic MMOs and fighting games throughout his whole life, and that's just carried into his gaming habits today. He's still playing those like same 3 to 5 games that he's played for like the past 10 years, and that's just like, yeah, he's just kept up with that, and that's what he's happy sticking to. In the same way, I know a bunch of people who just stuck to free-to-play games or online games that they've been playing since their younger 20s to early 30s now, games like Valorant and Fortnite. And then there's a chunk of people that I know who just like stopped gaming in general. Like they used to do it a lot, but now they don't really have time to do it, and that's just life. So now after doing this like whole exercise of walking through the different eras of my life and my gaming habits with them, I think what's clear is that while spending behavior is a big factor to forming gaming habits, I think so were other factors. The time period of your life, what's going on, whether you're going to school, what kind of things are going on in your life was a big component. The technological advancements that were happening at the time were also obviously a big factor. You could say that games being like a social shared space or an online third space was more of a determining factor of what games you played and what friends were playing rather than cost being the biggest barrier. So now we get to the question, are games more inaccessible or accessible today? There's a lot of argument to be made for why games are inaccessible now. AAA games cost upwards of $80. Consoles are the most expensive they've ever been. The Switch 2 now is the price of a PlayStation 5 when it first launched, and now the PS5 is approaching like $1,000, and the next gen consoles are rumored to be starting at $1,000. And at that point, you could be thinking, like, maybe I should just spend the extra money to buy a really good computer. But now building a PC isn't even a good alternative, with memory prices skyrocketing the price of building your own custom PC. And that's on top of tariffs affecting everything and making everything more expensive unnecessarily. And then the argument for games are actually accessible is that, you know, free to play games and indie games offer cheaper options than back in the day. I think back in the day when console and AAA games were the norm, the mainstream thing to do was to just buy the flagship title for each console. So you bought Super Mario 64 on the N64 because that was like the main game, right? Like indie gaming as a concept wasn't even like a thing back then. So you just ended up playing whatever the developer of these consoles were releasing. But now you have free to play games that offer quality experiences beyond just console and PC. Like you have your mobile games now, you can play games on a tablet. And of course, indie games are able to offer good, lengthy, quality experiences, like 100-hour games for much cheaper. Like I immediately think of games like Silksong that is $20 and you can easily squeeze 100 hours of great gameplay throughout that game. So rather than the question of is gaming getting more inaccessible or accessible, I think I see it more as the gap between like AAA and free to play / indie games, the gap just getting wider. So I think there are a group of people who are happy sticking to the free to play and indie game bubble, right? These are the people that only need like 3 to 5 games to keep them happy, and they're happy playing the games that their friends are playing mostly. I think this is also why like cheap friend slop games soared in popularity, because they were able to have so much fun with their friends for super cheap. And I think people in this circle also recognize that you can have great quality gaming experiences that are also lengthy in indie games and free to play games just as much as their AAA counterparts. On the other hand, you have people who are still happy playing AAA games, and I think there's a bunch of reasons for that too. And I think a good chunk of these people are the people who are older, because naturally they have more disposable income to still spend a good chunk of money on games. These are people who have $70 to spend on a AAA title. I think it also makes sense that these older people aren't necessarily looking for like infinite games or games that are like 100-hour slogfest. Like they don't mind the tighter experience that is like 15 to 40 hours long. And they do care about like playing those kind of experiences with impressive high fidelity graphics, because I think a lot of people who pay for those kind of games do expect like high quality in that way. But yes, I think it makes sense that people who are enjoying the AAA games do actually like having a tighter, high quality experience packed up into not like super lengthy games, because they need to fit gaming into their schedule, and that only gets busier as you get older. AAA games also often offer single player RPG experiences or story experiences, and I think this aligns with social gaming being less of a priority for gamers who are playing these types of games. And then there's a chunk of people, I think, who are into AAA who just have console loyalty and nostalgia. I admit that I fall into this category. Again, I grew up with Nintendo consoles, which is a big factor of why I wanted the Switch 2 immediately. So yes, there are people who like fit in this bubble of like free to play indie games are great, and then people who are still playing like AAA games being fine with the cost of spending in that bubble, right? And it's easy to be in like the bubble of people who play indie games and free to play games mostly exclusively, and just like ignore what's happening with the rising cost of like AAA games, right? Because it's easy to be indifferent towards the things that don't affect you. The people who are upset are the people caught squarely in the middle. The people who enjoy free to play games, indie games, but also still want to enjoy AAA games. Like there's so many people who fit in the in between, which is why people are going to be more and more upset with the rising cost of this side of the table. There's people who still want to enjoy that part of gaming. They probably did grow up with like their childhood AAA games, and that just becoming more and more impossible, and having to choose the other side, having to choose more indie games and free-to-play games is like a choice that they're forced into, and that really sucks if you want to enjoy all types of games, not just have to stick to the cheaper option. While we're on the topic, by the way, can I just address this image that I feel like pops up every now and then, or a similar one? I feel like I've seen this graphic so many times and people debating over it. This graphic that says like Resident Evil 9 being $70 and only offers 15 hours of game time, and Crimson Desert, on the other hand, is the same price and offers gameplay of over 100 hours. This graphic is like rage baity on purpose, obviously. Like, it's rage baity because it doesn't offer much nuance or discussion in the way it's presented, and it's obviously a conversation that requires a lot of nuance, which is why people love to fight over this argument when they see it like this. My personal opinion is that, yes, I'm going to choose quality over quantity any day. Like, I will choose the 15-hour tight experience over the 100-hour slogfest of checklisting in an open world RPG. But I don't think like that is the argument that's happening here. I think the argument is that a lot of people say no game that is like 15 hours should cost $70. Like, that is diabolical no matter what type of game it is. At that price point, you should be offering more playtime hours. But I actually think that the examples that they use in this graphic are both bad examples. Resident Evil is like not the game to use for this argument, because Resident Evil is like one of those franchises that does get away with having the 10 to 15 hour experience and people being very willing to drop $70 for that experience because it's such a beloved franchise. Like, if your argument is, wow, you only get 15 hours if you're spending $70, like, Resident Evil Requiem is the last example I would be choosing. I can't honestly think of any other IP I would be willing to drop $70 on for that short of a gameplay experience, besides like maybe Silent Hill. I think I'd spend that much on Silent Hill F, and that's pretty similar in playtime. But yeah, Resident Evil is just that one game where actually people are very willing to spend that much on the short gameplay experience. And it's a game that kind of set that precedent. Like, people expect that kind of length in Resident Evil games because all their previous games are that length anyway. So yeah, like, it just doesn't really help with that side of the argument. And the people on the other side of the argument, like, I would choose the 100-hour playtime game that is $70 over 15 hours any day. They definitely should have picked like another game than Crimson Desert. There's been so much mixed reviews that I've been seeing over this game, like the story being horrible, like the controls being bad, having to be 25 hours in for this game to be good. So I think this is just another bad example. Like, yes, you're getting 100 hours, but this is like a 100-hour experience that is not necessarily good the whole way. If you really wanted to argue this side of the debate, I would choose a better game. I mean, the sweet spot would be to have high quality gameplay throughout the whole time and have a lengthy experience to really feel like you got your money's worth. Like, I know that I use this example a lot, but Baldur's Gate 3 is a good example of that. It has high quality gameplay throughout the entire thing, and you're most likely getting over 100 hours. So yeah, just any other game to, if you were truly trying to argue that if you're going to pay $70, let it be a 100-hour game and let it be good quality. But yeah, this graphic, like, obviously it doesn't allow for a lot of nuance, and I think a lot of us know that playtime isn't the only thing that determines cost of games, and this debate is never ending because pricing games is so arbitrary. Like, determining whether gameplay is high quality is very arbitrary. Let me get into this vent though about why I think pricing games is so arbitrary, because after having lived this experience of working at a studio, like, I'm just so convinced that like pricing games is truly like one of the most arbitrary things to put a number on, because it does not matter if you have a financial advisor or a financial planner on your team to determine the price of your game. And if you're selling your game for $100, obviously no one's going to spend on that shit. And the reason why AAA gets away with like $70 is because that is just the standard. That is just because everybody else is doing it. It is not actually the number that is making up for a certain amount, or because like they determine that like this exactly is the number that's going to perfectly justify the cost of the development and like the high quality gameplay and like the playtime. It is none of that. It is just certain standards that the industry has set, which is why you have games like Silksong, which is like only $20, and that is like probably way too cheap considering how much development went into it, but they set it at $20 because they are an indie company that would be fine selling it at $20, and that is just like the price that they determined was okay for their customers. And
Comprehend? What am I not comprehend? What would you like me to comprehend? Please, what would you like me to comprehend?
indie studio though is at the price for
Please tell me what you would like me to. Let's actually be mature now. And then no need to run now. Why not? Why not? Why not?
and like it would
Why not?
make the business
Because what she did in the beginning was wrong. I expressed that. You came into this because I can. You came into this conversation and you were talking about her the whole time. Now all of a sudden we can't talk about her. Funny. Oh, now you know you save it. You stop talking about her, not me. You. I'm not mad. This conversation is kind of, and mind you, the whole thing is fine. That first part, you got me in the first half. That first part is what really. Excuse me. The entire like that's how you put it in your perspective. Like you said, I think me and Dad think the reason why she was acting the way she was because you didn't look attractive. You're a very handsome person. You just didn't look attractive. Yup. Pathetic is what that was. I'm sorry. I don't know why you put that like that was supposed to. She's right. I should have had a haircut. Like, what's the point of saying that then? What are you trying to achieve? You wanted me to say I'm getting a haircut this week? Is that what you wanted from me? What did you like? What was your? I am most certainly, and like you said, it's not like you need to do it for her or anything. Of course not. I just want to do a favor for her. No, you can't because a lot of your points don't mean anything. How was that supposed? Inserting that with her made no sense. Now you want to stop having conversations with me because you make no sense. It's not my fault. Your delivery sucks. Okay. They say don't shoot the messenger. Well, here I am. I'm shooting the messenger because you don't know how to talk. I know you don't. Oh, now you want to insult me? You want to insult me? Right? Yeah, that she laughed. Right? Totally did. Totally did. Like, what'd you do today? Play the game, loser. Like, come on, dude. Come on. Like, Would you forgot? What? 50 minutes ago? Yeah. You're so silly, you. You meant it by that, though. Even if I'm not insulted, you definitely said it's like you clashed onto. What'd you do? Play the game, loser. Like, come on. No, that's how you feel. That's the point of you saying that. I'm glad I played the game. I sat my behind on this chair, collecting sweat, playing the game. I do not care. What about me? What are you talking about? I can't assume. I have a right to assume, okay? Especially when I'm right about how this whole conversation went, which is you tried to insert your little take care of yourself when I know I look good with or without a haircut. Okay, buddy? What are you talking about? Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. That was a reason for her to talk crazy to me? Because she just changed her. I don't want to be with a girl like that anyway. What the heck? Now, granted, the rest of it, the whole last year, you're absolutely right. I went about that. I wish I was more careful. And I told her this too. We had this conversation. If I didn't do what I was going to do, and here's the funny part about the timeline. No. This is where we talk about something differently. No. This is where we actually talk about something differently. This is where I break down how things went last year. This is just me talking though. I'm not even mad at anyone. This is how I thought about it, and I told her this. Where I was in a time position where either I had to end it or she was gonna end it. And if she ended it, then no, I didn't think it was race at all. But I didn't because that's there was no okay, I understand happy ending out of this. I sealed that by an accident. You know, it does sound like a race when you think about how, especially coming to the person. No, I'm not trying to race her to see who can get to it first. No, trust me. This is the conclusion I came up with afterwards, not during the time. I didn't know. Anyway, like I was saying, it was either she was going to end it because 1, my job, 2, taking care of you know who, 3, not even. I don't think my car issues going on. Like My mom?
I really encourage people to check out
My
the
mom.
local library, give them
Like I was occupied very strongly, and it only gradually got, I'm not gonna say worse, but I was where I needed to be. And at the same time, it's like yes, I still cared about her. I still love her, even to this point. That's why I'm so mad at what she did, hands down. But it's like, I told her this last time we talked. Like, either like you were gonna end it, or I was gonna end it. And when she was gonna end it, I didn't know. But I couldn't keep up in the present of that moment of trying to be there for her and please her, while also doing this and trying to do that. And again, how can I do all this if I don't even have a job? That's just in the present, in that moment of us working things out. It was nothing but misery and agony of knowing that this just might not work out because of where I'm at and because of where she's at. And on top of that, are we going to pretend a month before that the crap we went? I just didn't find that healthy. So I feel like even if that was messed up, I feel like that was an important thing to do. And I told her this. I gave her the reason, and it all makes sense. When you give a good reason, it all starts to add up. This is the reason. This is the purpose of why God made this happen this way. Because if I waited for her to end things, that's still, I have to still take into account me, how I feel. It wasn't just about her. It was about both of us. And I say that to this day. I never say it's about me. I always say it's about us. She's the main.
You don't always need the shiny new toy. You have the shiny new toy in your backlog right now. And that's what I'll end it on.
Yes, I know Sherelle.
This video is going to be a lengthy one. So if
The repetition of the many times before.
let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments. I would love to read them. I guess
Why
I'll
things
start
ended?
out with seeing how the
The
industry
same reason why it was going to end.
game prices and
Because I wasn't on my game. I like we can get into the whole no hold up, because we can get into the whole that didn't change till like recently. Mom, the last time, and I told her this on the bed, I was on both knees. Like, you don't have to do this. This was in, I don't want to keep bringing up the December thing, but I think I was very smart with some of the decisions I made. You don't have to be by my side right here, right now. I understand. We have separate lives. And she told me, like, no, I still want to do this with you. Because she ended things even afterwards, after she told me she wanted to. So how can I trust what you can't blame me. That's me playing it safe. That's me being careful of my heart at this point. Like, all the times I shed tears, what did I do wrong? This and that and the third. Her lying, saying the reason was because I didn't get her the camera, and then lying again saying it wasn't. Like, how, I don't say this, but she says it, but I didn't trust her. She says it easier than I say it. I don't trust you, Savian. You always think it's about you and all that. I don't ever say that. I always say it's about us. And I never say I don't trust you. But yeah, my body was like, I don't trust you. So again, the girl was hurt, and I'm sorry for that. I really am. That's the reason why I said what I said. And I don't regret coming back into her life this year either, because if I didn't, she wouldn't have saw y'all yesterday. She probably wouldn't have gotten that spare key. So yeah, I think a lot of things I did, despite the hurt and pain that we are still going through, I think the fruits of the labor are kind of showing, surprisingly. As weird as it sounds. But this is the kind of thinking you'll hear from me, not from her. And that's okay. It is. I'm not expecting her to think or talk the way that I am. That's what makes me the man in the relationship. Am I wrong? Huh? Am I? How things ended up in the long run. I mean, how we got here. You just look back and you're just like, I'm thankful for that. Like like yesterday, her seeing Imani and the smile on her face, that felt really nice to see. I told y'all, like, hey, look out for her, this and the third, because I know Sherelle. She can sit here and I'm fine. I know Sherelle.
かが飛んでったぞ。
一緒に逃げよ
So what ways do you think? So now I'm asking you, what ways do you think I'm stuck in? You can't just say your own. You have to break that down. You need to break that down. In order for yourself to be understood, you have to make yourself want to be understood. You can't just your own. Like, no, tell me what that means so I can have a better grasp and a better response back to you instead of what does that mean? No, that's just you two. That's just you two. But we're talking about me and Jarrell though. Like, what did you think I was talking about? No, no, that sounds immature. No. Duh. At that point in my life, why would I take that risk? You see, I like how you worded that. Even though, no. Look, I like how you. Okay, you can't just keep throwing life is a risk because we can throw around wisdom too from the Bible. Like, come on. But you see how you worded that though. Like, no. You see how you worded that though. Even though she broke your trust, and like you sounded so unconfident when you said that, and that is the very reason why I believed and felt like I cannot do this right now. Why would I after I'm sorry? What was I going to gain? You're acting like we'd be happily ever after if I stayed with her back then. Like the many other times before, you're telling me to just try again. The 27th time might be it. That sounds like an addiction. I believe that. I said I believe that. That sounds selfish. No, the part where you just said if she leaves, okay, that sounds selfish on her end. Okay. You are hilarious. This all just sounds like an emotional response than a logical one. You can't blame me for that. Because everything you're saying I could say right back, and like it doesn't. No, but I'm waiting for the moment where it's like normally when you have talks like this, you want what you say to be effective and get your point across. You want them to consider what you're saying. But right now it's just a whole bunch of you should have tried again this time because she left and she was on her own and So when is enough to you? That's what I should be asking. When should you step back? No. Answer the question. When should you step back from a relationship? Like, okay, maybe this won't work. Even after everything we've been through. What are you Leave what? How you're wording it isn't really doing it justice to how I executed that, but I hear you. No, that's not how I put it. No, it wasn't. Never said that. Never said that. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Show me the proof right now. Show me the proof. No, now you don't got the proof, so it's just your words. Never said that. Absolutely never said that.
Hinako, こっち!
Bunch of foo-foo. I guess she was clingy, and this is when we were like in the same house or whatever. Sure. No, I feel like I'm way past the guilty phase. But I will say, a part of me does want to speak to her. Cause, no. It's about giving her the right, this is the me that talks to anyone that's looking for help, like Rhinasia, and it's just the wisdom that I learned from the stuff that I've been through. But like, how she heals is very important. You can't just say you're healing, because you said something and it's like I heard this like before and before and before and before and before, and it was like, how exactly does she see this whole thing? Like a way a person's pattern and how they think really does determine what it means to heal. So when I hear her say things like, I still can't sleep at night and stuff. Huh? Oh, she's not there anymore. Oh, okay, good. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Nice. You think she'd still be in a relationship with me? If I didn't leave her? What do you mean? Maybe one day, but it'd be freaking weird if she invited me to her wedding. Good lord. No, I'm just brainstorming. It'd be weird if she invited me to her wedding. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. would you want to talk to her about? I'm not mad at it. Besides my haircut, I don't know. It hurts. I was actually thinking on that. Yeah, she didn't take me back. Yeah, I would like to. Go tonight? I was gonna get up at 11 or 12-ish. 1:45. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say something to her.
シュウ君、嘘ついてるよね。
知らねえよ。
騙せてると思う？ひなこを。
ひなこ、遅かったな。心配したぜ。
心配してなかったよ。相棒なら絶対に大丈夫って言ってた。そうか。ありがとう。
No, let's let her have some. Is what? Okay. Why? What's wrong? Why? What's wrong? Yeah, I'm chewing. Nerds. Dude says, love you too. Jesus fucking Christ. It's a washing machine? Oh shit, an Ari statue. Alright, very productive talk. Niggas be trifling. So in this timeline, I actually beat the fuck out of them. I don't run. Oh my god! Dumbass dog! Fuck wrong with you? You got fucking problems, bro. No bullshit. Please strike. Fuck you. Bro, I'm gonna kill this fuck ass dog. First, no, get up, I ain't done. That was way too quick. Your turn. You be alright, girl. Ew, nasty. Let me play my motherfucking music. Oh Lord, she's right. I don't want a relationship. Oh no, never mind. Cornelius Hubert. Bro. What? Let's look up who this guy is. It's just a fucking joke. Fuck you. I thought that was real lore. Alright, let's go. Oh yeah, Vector. We're gonna use all white costume in this ending. Oh. Wait. I have to recollect the sandals, don't I? Oh, I don't. Nice. Where's Big Bertha? Like, bitch, you wanna try me right here and now? I just got off the phone with my mom about my ex. Don't fuck with me. He was right.
壊れかけてる。もう少しだけ持ってくれ。
Ooh. You're new. You must be. Is that Kotoyuki? Huh?
やめてくれ。そんな話今はしたくない。
やめないよ。シュウ君がしっかりと現実を見るまでやめない。
だからやめてくれ。俺は
なら言ってあげる。ひな子はね、死んだんだよ。ひな
Pardon?
子は向こうの世界で楽しくやっているんだから。
That's just them saying she's married.
相棒、遅かったな。
I really thought she was dead. Huh. Nope. It's locked? Oh yeah. They're doing they're doing the cartwheel in there.
卒業以来だな。 使えるものはないか。
Seriously? Bitch, is it you? Who the fuck is that? Oh, wait. What? Huh. Damn it, bitches. How many of y'all in there? God damn. I knew it, bro. Fuck you, bitch. Ow. Try it. Try it. Before it become past tense. You tried it. Come here, bitch. One of you motherfuckers got an SOS on it. There we go. Thank you. No, I forgot what your name was. I already have that one. I'm just gonna pause right here.
説で一山当てた成金がわざわざここに学校を建てたって聞いたことがある。
Nice. Ooh, 2 more. Nice. Yeah, now I'm in my right state of mind now. Yeah. I'm ready to take the world by storm. Girl meets world. In the next playthrough, not this one.